Hello and welcome to VGC, the video game podcast, for this special episode celebrating Pokemon's 30th anniversary. I'm Jordan Midler, joined by creator and Pokemon master Jenny Nicholson. Jenny, how you doing?
That's me.
Yeah.
That's me.
Hi. The title creator? You like that? What do you go by?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think creator's fine.
Yeah. I think creator's nice.
YouTuber, creator.
YouTube master. People will know you from extraordinarily long videos, critiquing Star Wars hotels or Beauty and the Beast adaptations or my personal favorite. I literally can't remember the name of the TV show, but it's got scientist Dr. Luke Tipple in it.
Opposite Worlds.
Opposite Worlds. Yes, it's a triple platinum in my house, but we're not talking about any of that guff. This time we're talking about Pokemon. Jenny, you've done some Pokemon coverage on your pages before. We met at the Pokemon World Championships, but kind of tell us where you're at with Pokemon, and we'll get into how you got into it in the first place.
I guess like from my childhood, it was one of my early major fandoms that I was like really into. So we were like early adopters, my sister and I. Like she got Nintendo Power, so we got that VHS in the mail that I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with. Did you get that actually? Is that in every country?
No, we got, but this was back in the era. Do you remember when like you may not be conscious of this, but the UK would always get like Pixar and Disney films like a year or 6 months later for like no reason. You'd think it being another major English speaking territory,
they don't have to change it.
The same thing was happening with Pokemon back in the day. Like our games would be 6 months later. The anime started a lot later. So when you're talking about you went to like the pre-release tour and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure you said you had.
We did.
You have the white t-shirt that
Pikachu
says like
card.
"Got ya" on it, and it's got like the original art.
And they're in a cage.
Yeah.
I have that. I also have a black baseball cap, which is very simple. It just says Pokemon with the Pokeball on it, and they gave that at the Pokecar too. One of the stops on the tour was my childhood theme park, Marine World in Vallejo, which is not even called that anymore, although it still exists. But yeah, the Pikachu Volkswagen came out, and it was kind of a weird experience because like they had a demo of the game mounted in the trunk of the car, but all the kids would just like line up and you'd play it for like 2 minutes. And the people that were like handling the tour, you wouldn't get like instructions. So it's like me, I'm like, I think I would have been 6 when this was happening. So I'm like 6 years old. And then I jump ahead in line and it's like in the middle of a battle. And I'm just like, I've never seen this before. Like what's going on? And then the person working the line was like, just press A a lot or whatever. It's like, oh, okay. So it didn't make the game seem that good, but I was already sold on the characters at that point because we had watched the tape so many times and we were already bought in.
What did the tape include? Was it like the first episode or was it just like a little mixture?
No, it was special. They shot it just for Nintendo Power. They used to do this with like a lot of their different games that were about to come out. And I think a lot of it was just like people that worked at the magazine, like shooting fun stuff in office. And so it was live action. They had some clips from the anime, but it was like fake documentary interviews with like Ash's history teacher and like his aunt and like Misty's best friend. It's on YouTube. So yeah, you can still watch it. I'm sure you have, but it was amazing. And I remember specifically Misty's friend in it. She's like sitting in her bedroom and her bed is covered with early plushies of Pokemon. And I was like, I want to be her. I want to be that cool teenage girl that has got so many Pokemon plush on her bed. So yeah.
Were you aware of how they launched Pokemon, I think in the Midwest, where they like released a bunch of Pikachus like out of a helicopter or something like that across the field?
I think you told me about that actually. I don't think I had.
I was doing a deep dive into like, because there's very little of this is actually archived, the early days of Pokemania, because no one thought to do it, but there's a lot of stories not about the launch, but of parents being like, this was disgraceful. They didn't release enough Pikachu plush, so my kids were running around this field and they didn't get anything. Like, compared to that, our launch was a lot more controlled, maybe because they knew what they were expecting.
So was there like an in-person event that you got to go to?
No, it was much more like the first thing I remember is seeing the anime on TV, and I've sent you clips of this. SMTV Live in the UK, it was hosted by Ant, Deck and Cat, and they would have these sketches where they would be like they would dress up as Ash and Brock, and they would pretend to be like Team Rocket.
You have sent that.
And those little interstitials would introduce new episodes. So that is like such a part of the public conscious of people getting into Pokemon in the UK. And then like you say about the tape, I had an early tape that was a collection of this channel's kids TV, and it had one episode of Pokemon on it, the first episode.
Okay, that's cute.
And I just watched that repeatedly, and that was kind of around the same time as the cards were starting and the game was starting. So it wasn't this and I know based on looking up in the US, the release dates for like the card game and the games and the anime were a lot more spread apart. In the UK it was like, okay, this is a big thing, let's just push it out, and suddenly everyone was into Pokemon.
It's funny because like I feel like my sister and I had kind of a curse because with Nintendo Power, we got into it. Well, we were kids, so it was probably shorter than it seemed because time feels endless when you're little. But we probably knew about Pokemon and were excited for it like 3 to 6 months before it was even widely available in the US. So we would go to like San Francisco, Chinatown, because sometimes they would have anime goods at some of the stores there, and just be searching for like Pikachus. And in fact, my first ever like Pokemon thing was like a little bootleg Pikachu.
Nice.
I think he was bootleg. I don't know if he was official. And you just pull a string and he would like shake. He's like this big.
There is an official version of that. So maybe it was a legit one. Yeah, there's like there's one like that, and there's one that has tiny little LEDs, and probably not LEDs, but tiny little toxic lights.
Is that the one that says "I love you"?
Maybe, but I've only seen it in the context of because it's the 30th. They're re-releasing all of this stuff again, and they're doing that one that lights up on the cheeks.
Okay, that's cute.
As well as like the big fat Tinkaratoni.
Yeah, I saw the big Pikachu, which I have no purpose for because I still have my original big round Pikachu.
I deeply regret not having a lot of that stuff from that era anymore. But it was like, I think the thing that I wanted to ask, what was the main thing in your like school? Were people primarily into the games, into the cards, into like playing Pokemon on the playground or something like that?
I guess that we weren't, I remember vividly at my elementary school, we weren't allowed to bring the cards to school because I think there was too much like, oh, kids will trade or they'll try to sell it and they'll fight over it. In fact, I really vividly remember when the Burger King promotion for the first movie was happening, we weren't allowed to take any Pokemon stuff to school. And in the drop-off loop, I found the little plushy Togepi. Someone had like dropped it in the gutter. And I was like, oh my God, I found a Togepi. But I was so scared because I felt like I had to hide it all day. And obviously in hindsight, like no one's going to be searching my backpack for Pokemon. But I remember all day being like, what if they find me with this Togepi?
Contraband.
And I'm going to get in so much trouble. Yeah.
So we eventually got a Pokemon card ban, but for a long time, people would just have their decks of Pokemon cards that they would have in their pocket all day out on their desk. And it was...
no one took them?
So people did take them. This was the thing. There would be a moment where everyone would be sitting...
This is why it's banned.
Yeah, sitting at their desks, and then the teacher would be like, okay, everyone come and sit down at the front, like sit on the floor. And as people were moving towards the front, the top card, and you always put your best card on the top as like a flex to your fellow.
To show it off,
they would just get slid off and like slid into the pockets and stuff like that. A Shining Gyarados from Neo Genesis went awry that way. Thankfully... I was not one to bring my stuff like that to school. I would occasionally bring my Game Boy to school. I think it's hidden now, but my copy of Red has JM scratched into it because
smart, so no one takes
were
it.
it to be lost,
or it loses it. Yeah,
it's scratched in upside down. However, at the World Championships, when I met Junichi Masuda and showed him that, it was like, I'm JM as well. And I was like, yes, you are. That's why I did it all those years ago.
There you go.
Playing Pokemon was a huge thing in our school as well, but it felt like people had very loose understandings of like, it's not as if we were playing out the anime storylines or something like that.
We would be the Pokemon when I was in school. Would you do that too?
So we would be the trainers. This is the difference here.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I was recently speaking to my friend Jamie Jo, also an American, and I said, I was talking about this, and she was like, oh no, I would pretend to be Bulbasaur. And I was like, that's so interesting.
Yeah, you'd be the Pokemon.
We would never be the Pokemon. We would always be the trainer, basically standing still and saying, well, I'm going to throw out this. And
that's not fun.
It's it's a grim Scottish childhood. But like, so what Pokemon would you play as primarily? Did you have a pick?
I loved Meowth when I was a kid. I don't know why. I loved Team Rocket's Meowth. I was like, he's misunderstood. He's so cool. But then my friends and I mean, I feel like as a kid, you want to play animals so you can crawl around on the ground. So like Eevee would be a big one. Sometimes Jigglypuff, although she's on 2 legs again. But yeah, I remember like kids were always so surprised my favorite was Meowth because he was nobody's favorite. But he was mine. What was your favorite?
So this is
like back in the day.
This my favorite back in the day. It's still my favorite, and I don't. My shoulders always sulk when I say this because it has connotations, and I have to explain it. My favorite has always been Charizard, and it's just been co-opted as like the default Pokemon. So it's like
yeah, but I thought you were gonna say Jinx or something. I was like, that's not so bad. Charizard's fine.
I only like Jinx pre the redesign. I thought when they redesigned her, they went woke.
Yeah, you're like, they ruined her. I used to love Jinx.
You just don't, I was explaining to my fellow 7-year-olds the references to Gangaru makeup. It's like, you just don't understand it. You don't get her like I do. No, it was always Charizard. And I think it's because I had Red and because of Ash's Charizard, like it was always my favorite. And obviously he is like, if not, Pikachu is the default, but Charizard is the other default Pokemon.
He is, but he's popular for a reason, you know? Everyone starts with Charmander. I started with Charmander as a kid, although now my favorite starter of that gen's probably Bulbasaur, but I was a Charmander kid.
Yeah, I think so I was also super into the Power Rangers at the same time, and red is my favorite color. So I was like, when we...
Wasn't red the leader of the Power Rangers?
Yeah, that's it.
So you just like the strongest ones.
Yeah, it's a psychological issue that's been pointed out to me many times. But like when we would play Power Rangers, I had to be the Red Ranger or there would be serious fallings out happening. I keep battering Clodsire here. I apologize to the audio listeners.
I know, it's really sad.
It's all right, it's tough. So red translates to going to Pokemon Red, translates to loving Charmander. When Gold and Silver happened, I was a Cyndaquil guy, still am, still a big Typhlosion man. So yeah, red was a serious through line back then. But back on the cards, was it quite easy to get them in the US? Because over here, they were in traditional toy stores when we still had Toys R Us and Toy Master and things like this. But also they would be in like corner shops, like little news agents, like the equivalent of like American bodegas or whatever. And they would have tons and tons of product because they were getting them from the same supplier as like sticker packs and stuff like that were more typical news agent fare. So could you get your hands on quite a lot of stuff, or was it harder?
Well, because I was so young, I feel like 90% of the time we'd get Pokemon cards, our dad would just like bring them home and like surprise us, and it'd be a booster pack. So I don't know how hard they were for him to find. I know a couple of times we went with him and we would go to like a card shop, like a baseball card shop. And I know maybe it's because we were such early adopters. I think at first it wasn't that difficult. So like a lot of my childhood cards are like the shadowless ones because we had just started getting into it so early. But yeah, I never remember specifically a shortage, but also because we were kids and we didn't have our own money, I feel like we would get booster packs like once in a blue moon, and it would be like we'd each get one. Yeah. So my childhood collection is also not that large.
Yeah, I remember having a decent amount of like theme decks because that was like an easy and cheap way to get a lot of cards at once. And I don't remember what age I was when I like twigged that, every time you get this theme deck, it was like the same cards. Like I feel like there was a childhood experience of getting it again and be like, this is weird. That. Yeah.
I still have like an unopened fossil theme deck.
Nice.
And I looked it up and I think it's not like worth anything, but I was also like, I don't really want to open it because it's been shut all these years. Yeah. So I'll just leave it, I guess. Leave it be.
Because obviously those original sets like Base, Fossil and Jungle were all out fairly close to each other. I don't really remember the delineation of when like specific sets came out, but I remember on some video or DVD, it would have been a video at this time, probably for the first film, they had a trailer for Neo Genesis and it was like dark and moody.
I've seen that.
It is stuck in my head. And I have, the only graded card I have is Sneasel from Neo Genesis because it flipped around and showed it and it was the first time I saw a dark Pokemon. And I love Sneasel because of that. It's like imprinted in my brain. But I was also kind of, I was like scared of these cards. I was like, am I even going to be able to play with these because they're like totally different, totally new types? So I remember that stuff happening because that was kind of happening. Obviously that was the first new generation since like the launch. So I remember bits of it back then, but Were you a big collector of like the action figures back then? Because that was something that
Yes. Yeah.
those original run of figures weren't super widely available in the UK. You could get a lot of the Pokemon themselves, but getting like Ash, Brock, and Misty, Jesse, and James,
right.
super hard to get.
So you guys would get like the Japanese ones that were like a blister with one Pokemon in it kind of thing. Okay. Because we would, for those ones, we would only really find those at like, I was going to say GameStop, but I think back then it would have been like Babbage's or EP Games or something. But yeah, they would have a wall of that at the video game store. And then at the conventional toy stores, it would be the multi-packs, the ones that I guess you weren't getting, where it's like Ash and Pikachu, or the ones with like the clear Master Balls, and it would be a whole evolutionary line.
Would get a couple of the triple packs, you know, the ones that would come with like the little cardboard disc that would say like the Pokemon and their number. But we would,
that's the one I remember most.
I would just never find the actual characters, and I was desperate to get the characters because it felt like the games I was playing were incomplete when it was just these Pokemon here. It's like these are Pokemon without portfolio.
See, we played Pokemon very differently. I had the human characters, but I never played with them. I would just play with the Pokemon they came with. So I did have the Ash and the Misty, and I think I had a Team Rocket too. I didn't have a Brock, that's for sure. I don't even know if they made Brock, but yeah, we wouldn't play with them at all. We just were like, these are Pokemon. They live in a house. They drive cars. These are our Pokemon having adventures. So they were just like characters. They weren't really doing what they do in the games.
See, the trainer fantasy to me was so intoxicating. Like I was always desperate for an accurate, like show accurate sized Pokeball, because all of the toy ones were way smaller than you see Ash holding a Pokeball, and it's like this like massive thing. And I always wanted that, and I also wanted the tiny little ones he would wear on his like belt and stuff like that. They would press and they would become huge. Obviously, that technology didn't exist, sadly, but it would always be gimmicked. It would be like a Pokeball with something that you can shoot out of it, and it's like that's not real.
It would shoot coins, or it would have like a little lever inside, or they did make one that plush could pop out of. It was like little nylon like parachute plush, and so the idea was you would throw it and it would the plush would burst out because it was compressed. But those Pokeballs were like too big. They were like, the image is mirrored, I'm not used to it. They were like this big. They were like as big as your head, so you couldn't really like play with them as a kid, although I guess it was fun to like shove the Pokemon in. But that makes me curious, did you not have an equivalent to like our Burger King promotion?
So we did,
where it was like a ton of different,
we got the Burger King,
because they came in the balls.
Yeah, but I think my issue then was, correct me if I'm wrong, but did those have like little plastic feet on the bottom of them? So they're
no.
So are they?
You're thinking of the shiny ones with the gold cards.
That is the one we got. I don't think we got the other one.
Oh, the toys didn't come in the balls.
I'm not 100% certain.
If you were getting everything 6 months late, I wonder if that was the reason, because we actually had those recalled in the States because it was found that they were big enough that kids could suffocate if they were over their nose and mouth. So I wonder if maybe when they were ready to take it to another country, they're like, we'll just do the toys and we won't do the Pokeballs. But that sucks because they were kind of the perfect size. They were keychains, so you could like clip them to your belt like Ash or to your bag.
Like literally the one company Pokeball, this is what I wanted, the cannons.
Really? But it's like heavy.
Well, I didn't want it to be, and also it's £100. Okay. Like I wouldn't want it to
fragile.
Yeah, very expensive, has a light in it.
You're supposed to be able to throw it. That's the only thing you want to do is throw it.
Something exactly this size, and also it's like it's pretty like depressing, like holding this in my hand now, how much of my hand covers it when you look at Ash.
Because you're like, I'm not a child anymore.
It's meant to be ginormous, but something like that, which was really hard to get. Now they're a dime a dozen. Like the Pokemon Center in Japan sells a lot of ones that are a nice size. Ones. Yeah, like I like those. But when it comes to toys, I distinctly remember around the same time as the cards were getting popular, you'd walk into Toy Master in Paisley, God rest it, and it was like a weird mix of a toy shop and like a kind of baby care shop. So they would sell like prams and all that kind of stuff at the back, but there would always be a wall that was like the hot thing. So for 3 months it would be Pokemon, and then like, oh, Digimon's hot now, so it'll be that wall.
I refuse to believe Digimon overtook Pokemon in merch sales. That's crazy.
It was never about merch. It was more about like, what can we fill a wall?
The new thing.
Yeah, and like when like Attack of the Clones came out, that would be the wall for the time.
Right.
I remember this wall resplendent with like the original like red and blue packaging, that red and blue packaging motif that they used a lot. And then the bottom was just like booster boxes, and it's like one of the key memories I have of that place. And I tried. There's no footage of any of the toy shops that I went to when I was young.
Man.
Just wasn't a thing. It's as if the invention of like
Well, because who records going to the store in those days? I mean, now people will just vlog like going to Target, but they didn't do it back then.
You made a really good point in a video recently. It might have been recent. It might have been a long time ago. I can't remember. I watched them in out of order, but about
Right.
like if you're a child now, or even you were a child 10 years ago, and you're like, oh, I remember the 20th anniversary of Pokemon. What was Toys R Us like then? Here's like essentially 4K footage.
Yeah, there's gonna
everything.
be some vlogger doing like a full tour of the Pokemon aisle, which is like so cool. I guess it's kind of bleak, like how much it's an industry now, but it is really cool that record is like available.
I would give everything. Like we'll get onto it, but the amount of hours we have spent just sending each other links and pictures from the Pokemon Center New York.
Pokemon Center New York. Yeah.
Like,
oh man.
And you think that considering how well archived you would think the city of New York was, the fact that there's still so little of that and we have to be on.
Okay, but there was stuff happening in New York inconveniently around that time that kind of took center stage. So
history will look back and decide which was a larger situation, the Pokemon Center New York but it makes me, I feel very nostalgic about that stuff. I would like to get a lot of those old things back, but getting them in any kind of nice condition, sealed especially, very hard. It's not the price thing for me. It's always about the quality. Like if something's like basically store shelf quality, I will pay decent money for it. But who was keeping it? Who was keeping it in good quality? It's always like, oh, we found this in a bin and a rat is like eating half of the
and
bubble.
It's like we took our kid to New York one time and we never thought about it again. So which specifically items have you been like tempted by but you can't find?
The sealed blisters of like multiple of the small plastic figures, because I think they just look so good. And I think I would buy
I have a couple of those on my shelf, just a couple. And they're like from when I was a kid because they're expensive now. It's just ones that like I happened to get a double for a birthday and I didn't open it.
Man, I would not have the patience. I would incorporate that into the game. My trainer had just caught another Pokemon and now can the two coexist?
I maybe should have done that.
Yeah.
I think the idea was you would think like, oh, maybe at some point I'll exchange it at the store or give it to someone, and then it would just end up on like a high shelf of a closet and kind of be forgotten.
So going back, were you like super into the games, or was that just like an extra kind of side part of the whole fandom
For me, it was like peripheral.
Yeah.
For me, it was largely the anime and like the plush and the toys. In fact, like the action figures were like, my sister and I just played with them so much, like for years. That was like our main thing we would play is like Pokemon toys.
Would you ever, and I would judge you based on this, did you ever bring characters from other franchises to play with the Pokemon?
No, but we would take the Pokemon into play sets from other franchises. Like there was a dollhouse called like Lucy Locket that was perfect size for the Pokemon, and like all my Barbie houses and cars and stuff. But no, we wouldn't mix in like other animals or anything. It didn't feel right, you know. But we would mix in different toy lines. So we had a lot of the ones that I think are called the kids, where they're like kind of weird, like almost styrofoam material.
Oh, yeah.
And they're hollow inside. So we would like mix those in. So not all of them like aesthetically matched each other. We would also use like the keychain toys just as normal toys. But yeah, it would just be Pokemon.
Yeah, that's okay. The marbles were a big thing over here. Did you guys get the marbles as well? They were like,
I think I saw them, but we didn't.
I have like a ridiculous number of them somewhere in my mum and dad's house. And the paint, they were like generic marbles that they clearly very quickly slapped Pokemon on, and the paint was coming off them.
Wasn't it like a sheet of like clear plastic down the middle of the marble or something? So the Pokemon was like inside, but it was like not dimensional.
This is even worse. This is literally like a JPEG of a Pokemon printed out
on the outside.
And it was coming off.
And so
immediately.
If you play marble, it would just come off.
Yeah, so that.
What would you do with them?
Kind of just like look at them and like collect them. It was almost kind of like Mighty Bean adjacent.
It's very sad.
Yeah, it's like obviously this was in the
all your childhood stories. You like we just look at marbles, or we would like stand on the moors and like throw rocks, pretend that we were Ash.
This doesn't even get into the point where when I would go on holiday with my parents, and because I'm an only child, I would have no one to play with on the first couple of days. So I would just swim around the pool pretending I was a water gym leader and imagine the Pokemon were there.
Not even a Pokemon.
No, I was never the Pokemon. Like that just does not. I could not portray a Pokemon accurately. So it wasn't to be.
This is so sad.
Yeah, I could be a Pokemon trainer. I could not be a Pokemon. That was I suppose I could.
But that's why you pretend. Use your imagination.
We need an element of realism here. I could be a Power Ranger, but I couldn't be a Megazord.
True.
Like so.
That's true.
Yeah. we don't. I didn't have that sad a childhood. I think it's just like that's just
you're just not selling
experience.
it very well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So for me, the games were like a really big part of it, and the trading aspect and like teaching everyone like the glitches and like the missing no stuff.
We loved talking about that. Yeah, missing no and all the like fan sites that would have rumors of like hidden Pokemon in the game.
Loved all that stuff.
Like Peekaboo.
Exactly. Like I was so convinced, and I convinced multiple other people, that if you spelled out certain Pokemon's names with the unknown in Generation 2, they would like appear in like the last slot. And every time I'd be like, oh, your game doesn't seem to work like it worked with mine. What are you worrying about? Like I was such a gaslighter. You
would just lie?
Yeah.
Oh, or did you trick yourself?
No, massive liar, because there was social capital in being like the Pokemon insider.
The guy that knows the secrets. Yeah.
It was the same thing.
Like my dad works in Nintendo and stuff.
Precisely. It was like the same idea as people would go. There's like a very famous market in Glasgow called the Barras, and that would have a lot of counterfeit Pokemon cards. So you would get like a Mewtwo with 7 billion health, and you would just swear blue in the face. I would never do this because I hated fake cards. No, this one's real, and this one has a special attack that I instantly win the game. We would never really play the trading card game. It would just be like, oh, this has a stronger attack, and thus wins. So it was that kind of the schoolyard rumor stuff around Pokemon is obviously so like tied to the franchise generally, and that is my main memory of it. The playing as the anime characters was also a big part of it, but I think we ended up playing.
Would you be an original character, or would you be like, I'm Brock?
Jenny, let me tell you, if I was not Ash, I would go crazy.
No, you sound like you were the worst. You had to be the Red Ranger. You had to be Ash. You love Charizard and only Charizard. This is awful. I was very beta as a kid. It's like we'd play Sailor Moon. I was blonde as a kid, so we'd play Sailor Moon, and I'd be like, I'm glad there's a second blonde one, because I know I'm not getting Sailor Moon. Give me Sailor Venus, because no one claims her, you know.
Was there like an alpha in the friend group that would always claim?
And she wasn't even blonde, but she'd always be
that
Serena.
Is ridiculous.
She'd always be the main characters. I know, when you're a little girl, like hair color is kind of sacred with those kind of games, but I would just be like, I don't even want the smoke. I'm just going to be Sailor Venus. Like, it's not worth it. That's
like, I mean, the other franchise that'd be like you not getting to be Bubbles if you were playing Powerpuff Girls if you were blonde. Like,
and I was very strict about getting to be Bubbles as a kid.
See,
that loved the Powerpuff Girls.
You were also a totalitarian ruler like I was in my childhood.
But Bubbles is not the leader. Bubbles is not the leader of the Powerpuff Girls. And I feel like only as adults do people realize that she was like the fun one. I feel like as kids, you're like, it's cool to be Buttercup. It's cool to be Blossom because she's the leader.
Yeah.
You know, Bubbles is like the comic relief.
Yeah. Did you guys get this is a total tangent, welcome to the Powerpuff Girls broadcast. I remember some of my friends in my street having like pretty hard Powerpuff Girls dolls, but they looked like perfect. They were like, they were not stylized in any way. It looked like you just made like a 3D print of like an exact Powerpuff Girl. And they were really, really hard. So people...
They were big?
Like kind of this size. So they were like fairly decently sized. And they were heavy, so they would get swung around by the leg, and if you got caught by one of those, was really, again, UK childhood. It was violent.
I had like little ones with plastic heads. They came with like a slumber party set, so you'd lie them down and their eyes would close. But no, we didn't have any that were weapons. We just had like full plush and little ones.
Also, Ash might be the protagonist of the show, but he is not the leader. He is like the worst character of that entire show.
I know, but I feel like that reveals your issue as a kid, because it shows that it was just about being the main character. Because no one's like, oh, Ash is so cool, I want to be like Ash. Yeah. I mean, maybe in the later seasons, I'm slowly working my way chronologically through the anime, because as a kid, I would just catch stray episodes.
Yeah.
So, you know, we were marathoning it all during the last Worlds, and we made it like, I think all the way through the Orange Islands, which it's not anything.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I kind of expected that maybe when they did the remakes of Red and Green, they would, like, the Sevi Islands are kind of Orange Island adjacent, but they never really...
They should go back and do it now, the Orange Island.
Like a small
And do like a
game.
funky game.
Yeah.
Because also the gym battles in that were like not real. It would just be like an arbitrary challenge. They'd be like, we're doing a race today or something. And I think that would be kind of, I mean, I guess they kind of did that in Scarlet Violet.
Yeah.
Because they'd have the challenge first. So yeah, maybe that was inspired by the Orange Island season. But it'd be fun if that's all you did. You don't even battle.
Yeah,
You don't even like level up or anything. You're just doing braces.
Like, even if when they did the Switch version of Pokemon Snap, they could have like set that on the Orange Islands and stuff like that.
That would be
but
cute.
I think the Pokemon company's demonstrated many times that the fans care about that. It's like Star Wars. The fans care about this shit way more than the Pokemon company does or should, to be fair, because who remembers the Orange Islands? But it would
That's
be
why
nice.
you bring it back.
Yeah.
It's retro. It's cool.
Bring it back and then force the current protagonists, Roy and Liko. Have you seen any of the new Horizons stuff, like the post Ash
Those
stuff?
names are not familiar to me at all. But yeah, I did actually start watching it, although it's been a while now. But I was really digging what I saw. I liked that it was a female main character. I liked that like it felt very female oriented in a way, like with a lot of the story elements. Like she has like a special necklace. The bad guys are all trying to get her special necklace. That's very girl media to me, like very children's girl media in like a charming way. So it seemed fun, but I think I probably only watched like 10 episodes or something. Need to get back on it.
I also liked it, but it has the power creep problem that original Pokemon anime never had. Like the original Pokemon anime obviously was, let's meet all of the Pokemon, let's give you one memorable thing about all of the Pokemon. But the new anime, like they've got like a shiny Rayquaza within like 25 episodes, and it's like,
okay, yeah, that's kind of crazy.
they've got a shiny Lucario as well. That's the other thing, like shiny Pokemon.
Why are they all shiny?
Because shiny Pokemon are
This explains, though, why they sell plush of those two shinies.
Yes.
Because it's in the show. I wondered why like they would only do some of them. I think probably as time goes on, they're going to do a lot more shiny merch.
Yeah.
At least of the ones that like look more different.
They should do... I mean, this would never work because people would just see it and immediately buy it. But like maybe if you order a Sitting Cutie from the Pokemon Center, every 100 orders gets a shiny one. You couldn't do it in a physical location, obviously, because people would just like rip the shelves to pieces.
Yeah.
But yeah...
Or like get into blind bags. I feel like blind bags are like such a thing. Blind boxes, blind bags. So maybe it's one where it's like, you know, you're getting Bulbasaur, but maybe sometimes you're going to get a shiny Bulbasaur.
Yeah.
Does Bulbasaur have a good shiny? I can't picture it. So probably not.
I think it's very kind of light green rather than...
Yeah. They do that a lot. My brain wants it to be like red or something really exciting.
The shinies have went through like a weird thing. Like obviously it was a hyper kind of niche video game pursuit, and one or two would pop up in the anime, like there's a shiny Noctowl and stuff like that. But once shiny hunting became a thing, and once the series started really like kind of laying into it, it lost some of the magic for me. Like the fact that in the modern games,
especially in Go, it feels kind of stacked. The spawn rates, like I have a fair number in Go, and I think I've gotten like maybe one ever in the conventional games because I do not seek them out. So yeah, they do feel a little too attainable, but it would also kind of suck if they like weren't attainable at all. So it's hard to say. Yeah,
I agree. I also wanted to ask, like, when you would go into an early, when Pokemon was just coming to the US, did the Toys R Us in the US have like the massive floor to ceiling displays, like as you went into the Toys R Us that would change like every month? Or is that something that was kind of from our shops?
I guess on the sidewalls, stuff would kind of go to the ceiling, but I pictured the Pokemon toys being in like central aisles. But they would have like a whole aisle that's like a bunch of Pokemon stuff, just like covered with it. And I guess I can picture floor to ceiling specifically actually with this guy, my talking Pikachu back here. When he came out and then they did a Mew and I think a Togepi that also matched. That was like a whole wall because this was supposed to be like, that's going to be the big Christmas toy. Everyone's going to get the talking Pikachu. And they were right to think that it's a great toy.
So in my local one, you would like walk in and then turn right and there would just be a massive, because these were in warehouses in the UK. So it was like floor to ceiling, and every month it'd be something different. So I remember there was always like the new series of Doctor Who is coming out. Obviously that was not a big fucking deal in the US at all, but they would have like a massive Doctor Who display, and it would be like 5 layers of different cardboard figures. So it would look kind of 3D, like it was coming out towards you. It was like dream toy store kind of stuff. And I remember the Pokemon one of that. And it was the picture of Ash with his one leg up and like a straight arm throwing the Pokeball that they used for everything. It was that.
With his backwards hat.
Yeah, exactly. It was that as a 3D thing. And if someone is listening to this and has that somewhere in the UK, I will drive anywhere for it, because that's the kind of stuff I would put at. I don't care if my partner wouldn't want it. I would put that like up in every room in our house if we could. That I miss those store displays. Like I obviously the Pokemon Center stuff is beautiful, but it's nice seeing stuff from Pokemon in other kind of places. And that was also the Wild West, as we talked about with the terrible marbles. They were licensing to everyone back then before the formation of the actual Pokemon company. So,
and I kind of liked that. I liked like the weird off model ones you get. My Horsey is also off model. This is like my favorite Pokemon sponsored like brand. It's called, what is this one called? Play by Play. And like they were usually carnival prizes, and all of them are like weird looking. I'm trying to slowly get them all. They're so special.
That's the thing. Like
classic.
You obviously it's the biggest media franchise ever now. But when they homogenized all of it, they lost a little bit of the sparkle. Like they lost a little bit of the fun.
I liked that. Like, I like to collect a lot of the vintage ones, like the Tomies that are like hairy and stuff. Because I feel like something with the 90s Pokemon merch is like they would get a little off model, or at least they would look different than they do now. And it would be like that company's interpretation of it. And now I feel like you see a plush of Pikachu, it's going to look like all the other plush of Pikachu, and it's going to look exactly like the in-game model. And I feel that about like just a lot of modern plush, not just Pokemon. I feel like they're almost like a little too perfect and polished. And I like kind of like the fluffy flawedness and like the hairy texture of like older plush, like my Sonic ones in the background too. I feel like the modern ones just aren't really the same.
Yeah, they feel like not to be like played with at this point. They're like they're always a collector's item, which I understand.
Yeah, and like Minky is great, but they're super smooth, and it's like they don't have the texture. The texture is kind of important to me.
That's why I love this guy here, the Dancing Ditto, because he's
I need to get that still.
Yeah.
Can you make it? Oh, it's so cute. Yeah. I love that because I've seen that technology. I don't know if it's right to call it technology. I've seen that technology in hats, and I think it's cute on hats, but they always have those like things hanging down to like squeeze, and I just don't like that in a hat. I don't think it's flattering. I mean, I guess it's weird to worry if like a dancing hat is flattering, but I just don't. And I also feel like experientially I don't like things like hanging on my face, you know? So I'm excited they're putting it into plush because I feel like that would be a lot more fun for me.
So when you're looking for a dancing hat for your wedding, you won't be looking for one that has some stuff like dangling down from it. I see.
They would need to be different in the execution of it. So
it's an incredible stress toy. Like I've spent a lot of time, or a thinking toy.
Yeah, that's why I want it.
You just look off into the distance and make Ditto dance, and like the gentle feel of that is
I hope they do it with more Pokemon. I'm trying to think which ones would be suited. Actually, a Zubat would be great for that.
Yeah.
You could squeeze his little legs and his wings could flap.
I feel like a lot of like winged Pokemon would work well with it. Obviously,
a Butterfree would be so cute too, and also has bulbous feet that would actually work really well for that. They don't do enough plush Butterfree.
It's weird.
Or Caterpie.
It's weird because you think Butterfree and Caterpie
they're huge.
Top 50 most recognizable Pokemon.
They're huge.
Yeah.
And they'll do merch of them, but they just don't really do like plush. They don't do big plush.
Yeah.
I want a big like Pokemon, like the Mochi ones that are really squishy. I want that of a Caterpie or a Butterfree. I'm so happy to see Metapod getting his flowers because in modern times they do actually do a lot of Metapod merch, and that's awesome. But we need some Caterpie as well.
I have an extremely large Metapod in my room that is.
I have the one. Is it the one you climb inside of?
No, not that.
Oh, I have that one. I have the one you climb inside of.
Yep. Every night I get into bed. I say goodnight. I say goodnight to Laura, and then I zip myself into the Metapod, and that's me for the morning. No, this one is like as big as a Metapod would be, like Pokedex scale, even though that is like a kind of...
Is it like the band Presto?
I believe
is that one?
so.
It's like a clone. I need that one.
Yeah.
I'm missing that Metapod. I have like the squishy one, which is great, with the purse.
Of course,
but I still need to get that claw machine one. Yeah, naturally.
This is another tangent. The Pokedex size plush that they've started doing, like so many of them are nowhere near Pokedex size. And also the concept of being Pokedex size.
Well, the Pokedex size is crazy.
It makes no sense because Pokemon have been shown since the beginning of the series to come in many different sizes. It's not as if they're all born in the exact same.
Also like, no, and also you think of them relative to humans.
Yeah.
Like when I see Gengar, I think he should be the same size as Jigglypuff, which to me is like a bit larger than a basketball. Like you hold it in your arms, it's big, but you can hold it in your arms. But I feel like the Pokedex for Gengar is he's like 4 feet tall or something.
Yeah.
And he's so spherical that for him to be 4 feet tall, he would have to be so big. Like you couldn't put him in most like houses. He wouldn't fit through the door. So it's just like, it's madness. And I feel like the numbers are so arbitrary in the decks.
Yeah. Like I covet the Mareep desperately, but I'm under no
so good.
I'm under no false illusions. That is not the size a Mareep would be. Have you seen a real sheep? They're quite large.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Sheep aren't that big. Sheep aren't 4 feet tall.
Well, but the plush Mareep isn't 4 feet
They're
tall.
heavy.
It's
but he's like big, right?
He's
round.
It looks too wee. Like his legs are too wee.
Wait, so like do it with your hands. How big is it?
So
big. I thought it was huge. I feel like there's that picture of the girl hugging it in bed, and it's like as big as her.
I'm googling for.
Maybe I'm thinking of a different plush. There's that meme where it's like the man posting being like, "I lost my marriage to this giant Pokemon plush that my wife got," and I thought that was Mareep, and it was like real big.
Well, I'm looking at a picture of a Japanese woman sitting next to 7 of them, which is just incredible. And she doesn't.
That's so good.
She's not that large. No, it's really not that big. I think the legs are the problem because the life size the Mareep is like essentially an egg with like tiny little feet popping out of it.
Yeah,
and that just doesn't read to me as what a Mareep would actually be in life size. And I think this problem extends to like the evolutions and things like that, and also they've went.
Those are so big though. The plush of those, they look huge.
I saw them in real life recently, and I think they look.
Are you an evolution person?
Yes and no. I wouldn't. I'm not a massive evolution. I love Umbreon. Again, this is not. This is another Pokemon that no one cared about until it suddenly got.
I'm surprised
like
you
massive.
didn't say I like Eevee. I like the main one.
No, I was an Umbreon head because I liked the card and I just thought it was like cool and like.
Well, Umbreon's a really good one.
Yeah.
I think Umbreon, like I'm not really an evolution person. I don't even really have a favorite, but like maybe it would be Umbreon. I think it's a nice sturdy one.
Yeah.
As a kid with like the original 3, I gravitated toward Flareon. And I had like a bunch of Eevee merch and I really liked Eevee as a kid, but I just feel like I see them too much, you know?
Yeah. I think I always went Vaporeon because Charizard would cover the fire type and I would always get a Pikachu, so I would have that, and Vaporeon was like a great kind of water type, although I'm a big Psyduck Golduck guy, so I would always run a Psyduck. But yeah, I don't have exclusively like I'm looking over at my collection here, like my Gen 2 Pokemon.
Yeah, pull some into frame. In fact, actually I was talking about him earlier. Look who it is.
Oh, there he is.
My first ever. That was probably so loud in my mic, though.
That's all good. Don't worry. No one's listening to this anymore. Okay.
Oh, wait. I also told his story.
Yeah.
The one that was in the gutter.
Have you got one? You got one of these?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Extremely
I want
exclusive.
the Bellsprout water, though. I don't care about the Buddy water. I want Bellsprout water. Is it soda or water?
No, I think it's water. I don't know. That's probably something I'm not allowed to talk about still until the day.
You're probably right.
Until the day I die.
Oh God, I hope I can get tickets. I think is it the end of this month? Like March 1st I can buy tickets, or end of March? I can't. So, it might be end of March.
People were talking about it at EUIC. Apparently there's like weekly lotteries. Weekly, not like
if you live in Japan.
So these people don't live in Japan; they live in the UK, and they were getting the weekly lottery. I'll speak to these people and maybe send you some links because
I'm so paranoid I'm gonna get some information wrong and like miss it, because it's like if I can't make it happen in May, I probably can't do it this year. I don't want to go this year so bad.
You just spend a day in Yomamori Land. I'm gonna take my headphones off to grab one of these. Grab a random plush from behind you and
okay, I will
and talk about it.
Oh, okay. Oh, let's see. Oh, this one's okay. This one's really good. I have this Ghastly. These were made by Applause, these little sparkly plush. And I think they would call them like battle play sets. They would usually come in sets of 2. But Ghastly came by himself in just a clear Pokeball. I love them because they're shiny. I think they're really beautiful. But Ghastly was one of the rare ones in this collection because you would get him by himself and just not a lot of stores carried them. And I got mine at Blockbuster Video. And he's so cool. I love Ghastly. Like, how often do you see a plush Ghastly? Back in those days, never.
Ghastly gets a hard time because it's a hard thing to replicate, like ball of gas. But on the action, like the toy side, this is my little Growlithe. He was key to a lot of the games. Ooh. He was an essential member of the team. He's looking a little bit worse for wear.
I loved the shading on those. Yeah. They look so beautiful.
Also, this Venusaur, which is like more nicely painted than most Venusaurs that they do today. Like it's got a nice dark face and it's got like the
That's what I like.
The correct spots.
I love the old
stuff.
Bulbasaurs. I just loved the colors of Bulbasaur back in the day too. He was a little more like desaturated, kind of that jungle color scheme. And yeah, I just loved all the painted on shading that they would do.
Oh, that's a that's a nice focus on Croconaw there. Yeah, that was like a big part of my I love Croconaw. I'm a big Gen 2 head. Like I have a lot of the Gen 2 sitting cuties, including. As
a kid, I felt very threatened by the rollout of Gen 2, but now I see it as so nostalgic because it was such a specific point in time when Gen 2 was happening, and I feel like in subsequent gens they kind of forget about Gen 2. So that to me like retains even more its status as like a time capsule generation.
Yeah.
And so I think of like, you know, Backstreet Boys and stuff like that. All that stuff that was happening when Gen 2 was happening. I guess that's true of like all the generations. They do kind of become time capsules in a cool way.
I love this Scizor because
or do you say Scissor?
So I checked because I was talking about in my EUIC. It is officially Scizor. I always said so.
I don't like that.
I always said Scizor, which is even more incorrect. But
isn't like also Rayquaza? Isn't it Rayquaza? I don't like that either.
How do you say laser?
Laser.
It's Rayquaza. Yeah, it's meant to be. It's meant to rhyme with laser. Sadly,
I don't like that because the Y is after Ra.
Yeah.
Ray. Yeah. Rayquaza. Rayquaza.
It's not Raymond Quaza, unfortunately. I always called him Rayquaza.
It is though. It's Rayquaza. I actually, in my P.O. box, I have to go pick it up. I have a hat of him.
Nice.
I'm really excited about it. I can't wait to wear it. Maybe I'll wear it tomorrow. I don't know.
You should. When we do part 2 of this 9-hour conversation.
Yes, when we record part 2.
I think maybe I just stopped doing the regular weekly podcast and then like once a day we get together, record 4 hours of randomly grabbing stuff and going, I really like this guy. And then every week
I could do that for a long time.
Yeah.
I love like the few times Patreon videos have been like, give a tour of your like stuff that you own. I'm like, oh, get ready. I have so much good random stuff.
I mean, it's completely off topic, but considering this is a video game website, could you please show us Mr. Bubsy Bobcat? Because I see him sitting there.
Oh, do you want me to get him?
Could you show him to?
Well, he's there. I'll point.
Yeah.
I'll point.
He is. That is a very rare.
And then right there, a second one.
A second Bubsy Bobcat has hit the podcast.
2 Bubsies.
That was like a promotional item for the game because like the only other person I know
my dad worked for the company back then, so we would go to visit him in the office, and they just had a drawer full of Bubsies. And the reason I have 2, my sister has one also. We each got one to start because there's 2 of us. But then the game was out where Bubsy has those friends that are twins. So we wanted an extra Bubsy to have Bubsy and the twins. So that's why I have 2. No. And one of them is like way more played with. Like his shirt's got like pilling and stuff, and like his fading. You know, they've got like the shading around the outside with like the black airbrushed onto him. So one of them is like pristine, and the other one's like all faded and played with and stuff. So we just got him at different times.
Other like miscellaneous Pokemon memories from your youth. I'll give you one while you think. So I went on holiday to Jamaica the year that Pokemon Ruby came out, and it was Christmas. So I was convinced that Santa would not be able to locate me in Jamaica and would instead be sitting in Scotland waiting for me. And then he would go, you know what? He's not getting anything. They can't even be bothered being here. So my parents got me the Game Boy Advance SP, the red one, and a copy of Ruby. And I loved it dearly. However, being a stupid child, I put my Game Boy Advance SP, copy of Ruby included, into the pocket of my my swimming shorts, and I dove into the pool. Game Boy and all, brand new SP and all. It is seared into my brain. I think about it all the time. Last time I was on holiday with my partner, I could see my phone and I was still checking for it, like as I was getting into the pool slowly, just in case that's a cursed reference. I couldn't think of anything other than apparition, but as if it flew across the room into my pocket. Thankfully, the game shop that sold it bought the story of how it got broken, and
really that's
nice. It was replaced for a new one, but I think about that all the time. The copy of Ruby still worked. I still have that copy of Ruby, but the Game Boy was not submersible, although the copy was.
My gold version was lost on a family trip to Lake Tahoe. I think it must have fallen out of the car, because I think by the time we got there, it was already gone.
Because you were playing it hanging out the window, taking in the Lake Tahoe.
As you do, you know.
That's the saddest stuff. Like, I have no memory of saying to my parents, yes, it's fine for you to get rid of this stuff because I have too much stuff. And they are not people that would get rid of my stuff without asking me or like being like cool about it. But I just cannot find it whatsoever. And I don't live in some kind of like mansion or whatever. There's only a few places it could possibly be.
No, but is there like an attic or a garage where they could just be, up in the rafters or something?
I've pulled through the attic, and all my old Lord of the Rings stuff's there, all my old Star Wars stuff's there. It's like, that's like the only missing piece. And it's like a weird thing to be like, okay, I know that a lot of my old cards got given away, but it was just bulk stuff really. It wasn't anything like crazy good, but the toys and the figures, it makes me like think, did I actually have this stuff? Like, no, I definitely did. There is a tiny Zapdos that I've thought about all the time that I want to get back so badly, but I have no idea where it is. You
must have it somewhere if your parents didn't habitually get rid of stuff. Especially if that was like your favorite thing. I feel like they would know to not get rid of that in particular.
They've probably sold it in 2020 when the Pokemon craze went crazy again. They're like, there's some money
they made a ton of money off your old Pokemon cards.
Do you still have all of your
old
stuff?
Where'd this new car come from? I feel like there are a couple things unaccounted for, but like 90% of it, yes. I do know where it is. I think my sister's toy collection we haven't been able to locate. And that's another one where we're like, it's got to be somewhere. We can't find it. Yeah. But most of my Pokemon toys, I think in sort of a backwards way, the few that are missing would have been like my favorites that wouldn't have gotten put away with the other ones because I left them out on like my desk or whatever in high school and they just ended up separated. But yeah, most of that stuff, like my sister and I did a big round of like, driving home to my parents' house and just like loading the car with specifically mostly Pokemon stuff because we were on a big kick. And she got a lot of her old like players guides and stuff and like old Nintendo Powers. So yeah, at that point, like I think some of my stuff did end up in the attic. So I didn't see it for years, like plush wise. But yeah, now I think most of them are accounted for. The only plush that I specifically am like, where did that go? And I got this one as an adult, is the Play-by-Play brand that I was talking about that does all these nice off-model ones. They made a Goldeen, and I had the Goldeen. It's so funny. It's like the size of a football. Its face is really funny. Good. I love that Goldeen, and I just don't know where it went. I can't find it anywhere. And all I can think is I lost it in my last move somehow. Like, it ended up in some crevice of my previous apartment, but it drives me crazy. And it's like, I don't want to buy a new one because then it'll probably turn up if I do. And then I'm also like, they're expensive now. They became expensive between me misplacing my previous one. So yeah, it sucks, but I love that Goldeen.
Yeah, that's really sad. Like, I think sure, the cards got more expensive, whatever, but the real tragedy is anything tangentially related to Pokemon that was so easy to get and so cheap pre-2020 has totally flown just because it's Pokemon. And it's
Logan Paul's fault.
Yeah. As with all things.
Directly. I know.
What's your relationship like with Pokemon currently? Like, obviously, we spend a lot of time talking about old stuff because we are old. Like, I'm pretty sure we're like the same age or 1 year between us or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
So a lot of our time is spent sending eBay links to things that are 25 years old at this point. Yeah. Did you get that bag? Did it ever arrive?
I did. I got it.
So
I have it.
For context listeners, Jenny and I shared an obsession with the Pokemon Center New York, which was the only Western permanent Pokemon Center of its kind. And there's a lot of merch that they made featuring the Pokemon Center New York logo, and occasionally it pops up on eBay. And
it's so expensive.
Yes. And I was looking at a bag that was fairly reasonable for what it was, and I sent it to Jenny saying, I'm thinking about getting this, but maybe I won't. And she bought it about 5 minutes later.
No, I said, are you going to get it? Because if you don't, I might get it. And also they had two available. They did. It was 2 lots. Yeah. So I wasn't buying the only one, but I did ask first. I was like, do you think you're not going to get this? Because then I might get it. It's a weird bag though. Yeah. It's like a backpack, but it's a crossbody, but you are supposed to pull it like completely over your head. I've just never had a bag like that. It took me forever. I was like, how do I wear this? How does it work? It's kind of strange. And it's a very masculine bag. Like, I don't know how I'll style it, but I'll probably wear it to like Worlds.
I was gonna say you've got until August. I'm also is it still there? I'm literally looking up live.
The trouble that I didn't think through when I bought it is like I have so many more exciting Pokemon bags. Like this is cool if you look closely and you see the logo and you're like Pokemon Center New York. But I have like a purse that's Metapod. I have a backpack that's Heracross. I have a backpack that's Gengar. I have a tote that's Magikarp. So it's like, how do you decide? How do you be like, no, I'm going to wear my plain black crossbody that looks like a guy got it at a tech conference and carry that around all day instead?
You just have to like split across. If Pokemon XP and Worlds is again like a 4 or 5 day thing, you just have to like.
Okay, that's enough days. Yeah, then I could do it, and it holds a lot. It's like a real backpack, just with one weird crossbody strap. So yeah,
you can have a specific Pokemon Center New York themed outfit one day.
That would be so sick. I could carry all my vintage Tomies.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I feel like that's part of my fascination with them is in all of the photos of Pokemon Center New York, they have this beautiful plush carousel of all the vintage Tomies with their hairy bods, and I just think that's so cute. They're so cute.
The thing for me that I really covet, and I'm going to ask you what your grails are after this, is one of the baseball jerseys from the Pokemon Center New York. And I feel like it's just not going to happen, not only because it seems like they were perhaps only given to staff as uniform, but the time that it's been, who's going to keep a uniform from their work 20 years later? I've seen recreations of them, and obviously I bought the Anaheim one, and it's kind of like that, but it's not going to happen. There is a t-shirt on eBay still that purports to be an original Pokemon Center New York t-shirt from the 2001 grand opening, never forget, and it's $1,200. And that's slightly out of my budget currently.
It's crazy.
But what about you? Grails, Pokemon Grails, what are you looking for?
For a while, the Giant Lapras was a Grail, but I have that now. The Tomy one. Tomy made several Giants, and I feel like the other Giants are probably my Grails. I think it was Tomy. I think it was Harry. I think they made a really big Groudon. I would like that. Also, a more recent Grail is I really love the squishy Mochi plush, and they made a Drifloon.
Oh, that's nice.
And so I would love to get the Drifloon. I don't think it ever came out in the States, although maybe someday it will. And it was released like once in Japan, so even buying it from Japan, it's like expensive. It's like $300 or something. And also like I kind of prefer Drifblim to Drifloon, but I'm so thirsty for Drifblim merch that I want Drifloon too. So that one would be cute. I feel like at some point I'm going to get that. Like I'm going to find one and the price will be right, or they'll re-release it, which they do from time to time. So I'm not worried about that. But yeah, I think mostly like the vintage Tomies, I would love to have like a pretty complete collection of like the Harry Tomies. And they've kind of brought it back. They have the Pokemon I Choose You collection that looks a lot like the vintage Tomies. And I was really excited to see those in Japan. So, you know, that kind of scratches the itch.
I was really tempted to get some of those I Choose You, but there's like, I've got a lot of sitting cuties. I have my Pikachu prison over here with all of them stuffed together. But
that's great.
I can't get into like other scales. The Ditto was very kindly gifted, so I will retain the Ditto forever. But like, I have a Mega Gengar plush that's fucking ginormous. Like he just sits up in the rafters because there's nowhere to put him. I got Mega Ampharos in Japan because Ampharos is one of my favorite Pokemon. But again,
that's one of the cute megas too. Mega Ampharos, but like with the hair.
When they do a Mega Starmie and a Mega Victory Bell,
I want Starmie so bad. I already love Staryu and Starmie. I think they're so funny. I love like the weird, I guess they're not technically objects because starfish are alive, but you know, like weird object Pokemon. I think the fact that they don't have a face is like really funny. So yeah, I'm going to be all about any merch they make of Mega Starmie. And I was so happy to see the Mega because I was like, we're going to be getting more Starmie merch.
Yeah.
And we are. In fact, Pokemon China just did like a line inspired by Labubus, and one of them was like a keychain Starmie with like a plastic gem in the middle. And I was like, yes, a beautiful Starmie. So luxurious.
Get that and replace it with a massive ruby.
I feel like that's what I like about the I Choose You.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll replace it with a real gem. But I feel like something about the plastic-eyed plush that are like mostly obsolete now, to me, now that says artisan. That says like if you went to Steiff, if you went to their luxury teddy bear factory, they would be making Pokemon with plastic eyes and hairy bodies.
To me, plastic eyes says 90s because non-plastic eyes is like, they took these off so people stopped chewing them and swallowing them.
Yeah, now they love the embroidered on faces, which I get because they're not a choking hazard. But like I said, I just feel like it feels vintage. It feels luxe. It feels very special.
I like the embroidered faces. I do have a lot of kind of lopsided embroidered faces, which is fine. It's a little bit like my Sizor is kind of he's got like one.
I will kind of look for crooked faces.
Yeah,
I feel like they can be really fun.
Also,
I like a crooked face.
He's just an awkward guy because of the little spindly legs and the massive claws. I thought it was Sizor, as in like Incisor, like the tooth. Like I thought that was kind of
it's like a scissor.
Yeah.
It's like a scissor.
It's scissor, sadly.
Of course.
Yeah. But also my Dawn fan, at no point have these horns ever pointed forward. Not once. I love Dawn fan. I love Fanfey.
Really
you really struggle to find a Gen 2 Pokemon that I don't love.
That's a grail of mine, actually. Although it's really attainable. I just don't have it yet. But I really want that Pokemon McDonald's Japan plush Fanpy. It's a great size. I have, at this point, every other plush from that collection because I've just found them in the wild or at Book Off. And I really want Fanpy. And on eBay, like $20. But I just haven't bought one yet because every time I go to buy one, there are so many of them on eBay and I'll open them all in different tabs and I'll look at all their faces and be like, what's the cutest one? Or sometimes I'll be like, this is the cutest one, but it's in kind of rough condition. And so I'll just freeze up. I'll be like, I can't decide.
Choice paralysis.
And then I'll close the tabs because they're taking up room. Yeah, decision paralysis. And then I just, I don't end up with a Fanpy. And I've gone through this cycle for probably 3 years at this point. Don't have the Fanpy. I just keep feeling in my heart that at some point I'll see one in person and that'll be my chance. And that'll be like such a sweet moment that it'll be worth waiting for to get my Fanpy in person. Maybe in like a Book Off Japan or something.
That was one good thing. Like when we were stalking the halls at Worlds looking at plush, it was nice to see. I would like to have seen more of that stuff and maybe less the same card 1 million times and everyone's
that's what I loved about this Worlds because the previous Worlds they had like 4 vendor booths and they were like all cards and like a couple remint figures, which I like those too, but this time it was like a wealth of plush and kind of a nice distribution of like what years they had been sold, so you could see some like older stuff you haven't seen before, which I love.
Although I got totally done because I was under the impression that they were never going to do the sleeping Cubone ever again. So I paid a lot of money for that sleeping Cubone, and literally,
isn't he like at Target now?
A week later, they re-released him on the Pokemon Center, and now you can get him anywhere. So I was like, you know what? It's fine. It's a memory from Worlds. I have him.
Well, yeah, it's special.
Yeah.
I've done that so many times though, where I'm like, it's sold out in the Pokemon Center. I'll just get it for twice the price on eBay. And then they like restock it a month later and I feel so stupid, but whatever.
Worlds this year, like I want to ask about this now because obviously Pokemon XP, this like festival that they're doing, we were talking about it a lot at the time. To turn the Worlds into more of like a almost Comic-Con style thing makes sense because of how big it is getting, and it can't just be a sideshow to the tournament, because that's not fair on the tournament either, because these players are playing for a lot of money and people are coming to do like the side activities. But how do you foresee it going, and what kind of things would have to be at it for it to be maybe not exactly what me or you want, because what we want would not be like widely popular or perhaps hyper niche, but
Pokemon Live restage.
That's the last thing we're talking about in this podcast is Pokemon Live.
I should have said that was my grail. I should have said one of the puppets from Pokemon Live.
You had your chance. You had your chance to go.
I literally did. It was COVID. I had the resources to go on a long road trip and just like live isolated. Get a mold riddled Zubat. I would specifically want Zubat, I think, from it. I
do agree with your catastrophizing that you would bring that back and the mold would spread to your entire house and you would come home and it would, the whole house would be gone like in a cartoon. So I do get that, but perhaps we can get like some kind of budding artisan to do a 1-to-1 recreation of one of those puppets. But
I would love that, but then like kind of the sympathetic magic is gone of knowing that it was like in the stage show. But I think Pokemon for the anniversary they should do a tribute merch collection about Pokemon Live. You know, they could do clothing with images of the puppets and stuff, PR photos, and then they could have a plush line that look like the plush or look like the puppets that were on the stage. That would be really special.
I mean, did someone sitting in this call try to get contact information for a very famous actor who was part of that to ask them about that show for the 30th anniversary?
Andrew Reynolds?
Who can say? Did they reply?
Did he say no?
Didn't even reply.
Man, there's got to be a way. I feel like he would do that. Like, he's not... I feel like... I'm going to insult him and ruin your chances. I was just going to say, like, he's not like Leo DiCaprio. Yeah. It's not like someone that's so removed from everything that you're not going to be able to get them in a call. I feel like he'd do it if you could just get through to him.
I feel like it was... I got to his people and his people did not pass it on because they probably thought...
that's what always happens. Yeah. I think if it got through to him, he would do it. You need to just call him out on TikTok or something. Yeah.
The thing with Pokemon Live is, and obviously when I was at the Poke Park and we were in the theatre, the first thing I said to the Pokemon person was, so are they going to put a production of Pokemon Live on in here? And they weren't thrilled.
He said, what's that?
Yeah. No, they knew, because not only is this person an absolute diehard, I've bothered them about it many times because I know the tape exists. I just want to see it. I
bet the Library of Congress has it.
It's like
they have everything.
It's like if you're an NYU student and you can watch like filmed Broadway shows, like,
or like a filmmaker, you can go in and just watch it in person and they like stare at you the whole time to make sure you don't pirate it.
Just wear those like meta glasses, like with the little cameras in them. Like, I
mean, we do have close to a pro shot because there's that bootleg that's recorded by like the sound booth guy, and I'm satisfied with that. That's fine. But I would love to just see it acknowledged more because I think it was such a special moment for the brand.
It's weird.
I feel like the brand in some ways is reluctant to look backwards at things that are like cringe or strange.
Yeah.
And I understand that for like brand integrity reasons, but I feel like the brand is on such solid footing that they could stand to do a little more of that.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like between that and the Pokemon Center New York, they never refer to because it was a failure essentially in their eyes because it got rebranded to Nintendo, and that is.
But it's still there.
Yeah,
it's literally still there, just a different branding. They just added Mario to it.
Yeah, they stole its soul. The Pikachu's still there. You can go and see him. He's the original Pikachu from the Center New York.
Wait, like the animatronic?
No. The solid
I was like,
one.
I've been there. Okay, yeah, they have like a statue of him or something. But I wish they would have at least kept the decor for like, because the top floor is pretty much all Pokemon, if I recall correctly. It's been years, but you know, I feel like they could have at least kept some of the decor and just moved it upstairs.
It's sad that there's almost like it's not as much Pokemon these days. There's almost like a Toy Story 2-ish, like strange things are happening to me moment where like Zelda is there and Animal
It depends
Crossing.
On what's out.
Yeah.
Because I like sometimes there's a new Splatoon and that takes over. Sometimes, Animal Crossing often. But there was like a decent amount of Pokemon.
Yeah. I think when I was there in August, it was like I got my statue of Liberty Pikachu. I paid my respects to the statue from Pokemon Center New York. And there was like a few little bits and pieces. But it was we're at the end of a generation. When the new games get announced, they will have all that stuff there. Again, but sorry, we get totally sidetracked. Pokemon XP. What was
stuff that I think they should have there? Yes, I had it in the back of my head. I was keeping it there. I think the one thing that might be a struggle for them is that I feel they're so protective of the brand, and I feel like for fan conventions to have enough to do or enough programming, usually the biggest people eaters at conventions are large panels, most of which are moderated for free by fans. And I just don't know if I could see that happening on a large scale. I'm sure they'll do a little bit of that, but I feel like it'll probably be with a small handful of like thoroughly vetted people they've worked with before. And I could imagine that being kind of limiting potentially. I don't know. I feel like usually you rely on the community a lot for even big things like Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we're going to see that as much with XP.
Yeah, like you would think that the natural thing would be like, do a cast panel from the original anime. Obviously that would run into some problems.
Oh, that would be great.
Because sadly,
but there's so few left now.
Sadly that's like something that, maybe you do one that's like across the generation. You bury the hatchet with Veronica Taylor and you have,
I was gonna say I think things are kind of strained with Veronica also.
I think
what's Eric Stewart doing? He's still good, right? He's still around.
I think so. Yeah, he does a lot of card shows. That's the other thing. Like I think maybe you do it with like a panel that was both Ash voices would be great. Like have
great.
Sarah and Veronica.
And like whoever plays the main character on the new show.
Yeah.
Fun too.
I would love
or
that.
Just like anyone.
Stuff.
They could even get people that had voiced Pokemon and have them do it live. That would be fun.
You get people who have voiced Pokemon, and then you have the audience line up and give their best one, and they have to.
That would be so cute. Or have them try to do each other's, or like draw out of a hat or something.
Like
it'd be cute.
At EUIC for the past couple of years, they've had excellent panels with the TCG artists. These are like the Japanese artists come over and they're translated, so it's like it's slow paced. It's totally chill. It's a great thing to do in the middle of the day to like, because a con can be pretty overwhelming and they're so loud and you do so many steps. So more stuff like that. I liked that they had the big silly Miraidon bike at Worlds last year.
That was great.
It was beautiful to see in real life. I know that it broke down on the first day, but just to see it was like fantastic.
Oh, did it move sometimes?
So it can walk.
I just saw it on like a plinth.
Yeah, it can walk like Miraidon, but
that's so sick.
Apparently it did not.
Is that like Kawasaki?
It's something like that. It might be Toyota.
Okay, I think you're right. I was just thinking because Kawasaki at the World's Fair, they had like a bike with like tiger legs. You could like walk. So I was like, I wonder if they reskinned that to do Miraidon.
Japan's the #1 location for bikes with legs.
Yes,
there's a
That's
Koraidon.
the future, bikes with legs.
There's a Koraidon version as well, but obviously Miraidon is like a robot.
Better.
So like a Koraidon version is weird because
I was just gonna say he's better. I like him more.
Yeah,
it's purple.
I would have preferred Koraidon if he didn't have wheels. See if his entire locomotion was just those big stupid feet slapping. That'd be great. I think the wheel kind of ruins it for me. Personally, I'm really looking forward to PXP. I think it.
I have another pitch. I have another pitch of something I could do. It's very similar to your idea with the voice actors, but I was thinking about all of the acts over the years. Many of whom we might affectionately call has-beens now, but who were like big pop acts back in the day that would be on the Pokemon soundtracks. I'm thinking like Dream Street.
Okay.
Did a song for like Pokemon 2000. I'm like, I bet you could get Dream Street.
Yeah.
I bet you could get adult man Dream Street to come to Pokemon XP. And like, or probably at least like, there's probably 5 of them. You could probably get 4 of them or 3 of them and they could do their Pokemon song. Or like, you know, I guess Mandy Moore is still famous because she was on the Pokemon movie soundtrack, right? But I feel like there are like definitely some pop acts on there. Like, what's Vitamin C doing? They can come do the vacation song.
Yeah.
I doubt they're busy. I don't know. I think they're probably still out there and they're probably bookable. And I think that would be great, having some musical acts.
I feel like there's a lot of stuff.
They could bring the puppets from the baby show. Where they're all puppets.
That would be stuff like that. Stuff that is entirely in their control. Like they brought out Yuka Mori's little plastic figures at EUIC a couple of years ago. Seeing that the stuff that's in their vault, which is everything basically. That. Like
they could even bring like vintage merch for their museum. Yeah. I've always wondered why it's only Worlds merch. I feel like it's such like a layup to just do like some fun 90s still in package stuff.
Yeah.
And even if they don't have that stored, which they probably do, with their resources, they could get some on like eBay, if they wanted to.
You would think that would be the focus due to it being like the anniversary thing. Like that would be great to do more
maybe
like
it
that
will.
stuff. Yeah.
And maybe it will. They might be way ahead of us.
You could do like a bedroom setup where it's like, here's the 90s
cute.
bedroom, like the bed clothes.
It
and
could
all
even be
stuff.
if it was like supervised, it could be a photo op.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we've seen Disney do that at D23. They'll set up like a 90s room with the princess TV and stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's like for influencers. Then they can film a TikTok where Lizzie McGuire's playing or whatever. Do that with a Pokemon room.
Yeah.
It'd be so good.
And also, side note, they have to put those first 3 albums on Instagram and TikTok as usable sounds because they are not there, and you always have to use like terrible covers when you're trying to post them.
It's so sad. And also get the song Vacation by Vitamin C on streaming anywhere. It's nowhere. It's literally in like production hell. Like I think it's a rights issue. I think nobody owns it. It's like partially owned by Vitamin C, partially by their label, but it's like, it's not even just not on the Pokemon album. It's not on any album anywhere. You cannot get it. And I don't understand it. That was like the banger other than Brother My Brother, which was also a banger. And another act you could probably get for Pokemon XP, Blessed Union of Souls. What are they up to? I hope I got their name right. I'm rattling these things off and I feel pretty confident. But
you're like 9/10 of the way there when you say it confidently.
Yeah.
What is you don't have to do it in order, top 3 Pokemon songs?
I thought you were going to say Pokemon. I got really nervous. Pokemon songs? Oh gosh. I would have to pick something from Pokemon Live because I think their version of You and Me and Pokemon is really good. It's a song that I didn't really like on the Kids WB album, but I think something about like the mix and the more Broadway style of it in the stage show is really good. If I wanted to like flex, I would pick the Giovanni song is genuinely really good. It Will All Be Mine, right? That one's really good. I was going to say, if you want to flex, you could pick that one where it's Ash and Giovanni like singing to each other, because you have to truly know the show to know that one. It's not on anything else. But no, I think Giovanni's song was like a standout in that. So maybe that would edge out You and Me and Pokemon. I have to pick something from To Be a Master. That's so hard to choose. I might just pick 2 from it, even though it's kind of cheating.
Do it.
I think the Pokemon dance mix, while not the best song, is so nostalgic because they did play it in that Nintendo Power tape, like at the end over a montage of like the anime.
So that's the thing.
So I think that was the first one I heard.
That is the song that they would also use on the news all the time, when it would be like, Pokemon is taking over the
new
world.
craze. It's literally
like,
that would be the one.
Like always that one.
The journey's just begun.
And then cut to like
so
kids playing the N64, and it's like, these monsters are coming from Japan and they're taking over. Like,
and it's such like an unreasonably like powerful song. Like, it's so soulful. And so I think that one's really special. That was on To Be a Master, but it's almost like its own beast because it was really everywhere. So that makes it not bad if I pick a second one from To Be a Master, because that one doesn't even count. I probably would pick the title track, To Be a Master. And that one also helps you remember the types of Pokemon, at least the ones they had back then, because they wrapped them all in quick succession.
Yeah.
So, and that's probably like the catchiest one too.
I just think Don't Bug Me with Your Caterpie is like quite that's when the bug
flying type, the win's easy.
Yeah, that's when the bug type erasure started, and that was like 30 years ago at this point. Bug types, they're on the come
and
up.
I love bug type.
Yeah, me too.
I think probably ground and bug are like, they have the greatest, like the widest swath of favorites for me. Like, I have individual favorites from like all of them, but when I really look at the spread of my favorites, a lot of them are ground type. So I think I would probably be a ground type. Do you know what type gym leader you would be if you were in Pokemon? Have you thought about this before?
Yeah, I'd probably be the Elite Four champion, so that I could have any type.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I'm probably fire type, something really important, and I'd have Charizard on my team and like Mewtwo.
Shiny Charizards.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
No, it would always kind of it would always oscillate. Like I think more about my favorite Pokemon, and it's hard to like think of a typing around it. Like Ampharos, Heracross, Charizard, Donphan.
Well, you could also think of like your aesthetic. Because I think when I picked ground type, I was like, I wear a lot of brown in like the fall and the winter.
I wear a lot of black.
I'm just kind of like,
I think it would probably be dark type, dark with like a little accent.
Of course. It'd be the cool.
No dark type trainer is cool.
I think it's very humble of me to pick ground. I'm like, I think I'd be dirt type. And you're like, I think I'd be the really cool one that's evil.
I'd actually be like a silent badass.
I'm a salt of the earth type.
You would walk up to my gym leader and he wouldn't even speak to you, just go, huh. And then the battle would begin.
And like the shadow of the brim of your hat would like cover your eyes.
Yeah. And my back would be to the player, so you wouldn't even see like.
Of course. We would see maybe your side profile looking smugly over your shoulder. Naturally. And like you're holding the Pokeball out to the side.
I'd probably have like dyed red hair, kind of, I would say, like in like an emo kind of cut situation.
Yeah.
And
this is very like Squid Game, when he randomly just made his hair bright red at the very end. Everyone's like, why did he do that?
Just looks.
I don't understand.
It just looks cool. Yeah.
It didn't look cool.
I was really into like a lot of water types when I was younger. Like I love, as I said, Psyduck, Golduck. Love Gyarados. Like I love a lot of the big fish. Like Dondozo, what a wonderful recent addition to the franchise. Great. And his like,
and Magikarp's a legend, you know.
Magikarp is
Alomomola, whose name I always like, it's like a tongue twister. I think I said it right though that time.
I think because I really love Ruby and Sapphire, and a lot of those games are about like diving underwater, and I thought that was like such a cool addition to the whole, like the idea of being in the ocean. I used to be quite scared of like deep water in video games, so I think the idea of being like on this powerful Pokemon like going through the depths and finding the Reggies, even though I have a love-hate relationship with the Reggies because I think they're uniformly terribly ugly, but I like the way that you find them in the game.
I don't know. There's a charm to them.
What do you think of these modern Reggies, though? Like Regidrago and Regieleki? I think those are really...
I literally can't even call their image to mind.
Regidrago is a red ball with 2 Charizard skulls either side of him, and Regieleki is a big lightning bolt thing. They don't look Reggie to me.
No, he's kind of... He doesn't... Well, he's got the eyes. What more can you ask for from a Reggie? But you're right. I feel like his build doesn't mesh in the same way.
I liked how the original 3 Reggies, and then you got Regigigas, and it's like, okay, here's just the biggest guy going.
Yeah.
That was closed the loop on it. Like, they always have to go back.
I guess. I don't know. It's kind of fun, though, when Pokemon have, like, a family, you know?
Yeah.
They have their own little family. Why should Eevee have all the fun?
Merchandise. Well, to be fair, they've not had a new evolution in like 15 years. I'm shocked that they've not had the new evolution.
I think we're getting one for 10. How could we not?
Yeah.
How could we not? They have to.
What's your pitch then? Is it a normal? Is it like the normal evolution, or is it like one for each game?
Because I think Eevee is normal.
Yeah,
isn't he? I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
I guess he's ground probably.
Eevee is total is monotyped as normal. Like, is there people have always pitched
that
like,
could be interesting though if the idea is like you level him up without using a stone on him, and then you can get like a normal one that's just like a big Eevee with long legs. Just big Eevee.
It's like the Gigantamax Eevee that's just like a massive Eevee.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'd love to see what Bug Eevee would be like. I'm almost picturing like a Flygon meets Leafeon kind of vibe for Bug Eevee. And then I heard some rumor that years ago they were going to do flying type Eevee, and then they were scared off because there was like fan art that had gone viral that looked a bit too similar, which I think you just have to let that go as the company. You just have to be like, there's so much fan art. Anything we design that's an evolution in this template is going to look like someone's fan art. Yeah. But we own Eevee, and we're going to make flying Eevee, you know? I don't know. But I think flying Eevee would be fun because I think it wouldn't be so samey. It would have like big wings and stuff. That could be fun. Ghost Eevee would be kind of cool. But I feel like Umbreon kind of is close enough spiritually.
Yeah,
so maybe it's a bit redundant.
I think Ghost Eevee would be cool, but I always picture like almost like Ghastly Cross Eevee. Like that would be the design in my head. Like very
I picture
wispy.
It being kind of ghoul colored. Like well, I say that like everyone knows what color ghouls are. But there's a certain shade of green that I think of as like ghoul green, like a pale kind of minty green with like some translucency. And I can't really think of Pokemon that are that color, but I would almost say the vintage Bulbasaur plush behind me, if you look at the color of not his bulb, but his body, I think that's kind of ghoul green. And I could see that for...
Does that not sail too close to Leafeon? Color-wise?
Maybe a little bit. But not if he has like wispy kind of Danny Phantom type details. You know? Do you see the vision?
Yeah. Sorry. It's kind of Danny Phantonian if you think about it.
It's like Danny Phantom, but in a ghoul green, as they say. You know, what everyone thinks of when you say ghoul green.
Cut to interior, the Pokemon Company, Tokyo, Japan. It's kind of like Danny Phantom, as you all remember from the hit TV show.
No, they're hearing me say that. They're watching this podcast, and they're like tearing their hair out, being like, oh, that was all of our internal design notes. If anyone finds these documents, we're going to have to cancel the whole thing, reprogram the game.
A dump truck full of money appears at your door with like a one-page document being like, you saw nothing.
That's the thing when they say a fan artist has gotten too close and they're like, oh, we don't want to like give them a bunch of money. Like we don't want to have to pay them royalties. To me, maybe this is like an evil solution, but I'm like, don't pay them royalties. If you want to acknowledge them and approach them, be like, we're going to offer you a flat rate. And it's going to seem like so much to an individual artist that like posts on Reddit that you're going to take it automatically because the alternative is that we don't make the Eevee and you get nothing. You know, offer them like $500,000 or something. I feel like anyone that draws Pokemon fan art would be like, okay. And then you have it forever. They're like, you don't get to claim anything. It's ours forever. We're making it. But then they're going to make that all back in merch like immediately. So it's kind of like everybody wins because they were never going to like license it as an ongoing licensing deal anyway.
Yeah.
So.
And also I feel like
I don't know.
They also have the defense, as you said, of like, Pokemon's 30 years old. People have been drawing Pokemon OC for 29 of those years.
Yeah.
There is no way.
And Eevee has a very narrow set of parameters to design your own Eevee. It's like with My Little Pony. If someone was like, oh, someone's already got a pony Sona with that colors, you can't play that game. It's a template, and it's inevitable that someone's going to have made something close at some point. You just have to make sure yours isn't like completely identical.
Yeah. I think that the whole did you ever draw OC Pokemon?
I wasn't a good drawer as they say as a
drawer,
kid,
yeah.
but I did think some up. I think my coolest idea, I thought I was so smart for this because it had like a Pokemon pun name,
nice.
is I wanted a water type of Ponyta, which looks like what the shiny ended up being. So actually I could sue Pokemon because they took my idea for shiny Ponyta. But so it's like the same as Ponyta, but the hair is blue and it's water type, and it was called Galapagos. Like Galapagos, but like galloping like a horse. I didn't have a clever name for the evolution though. That was as far as I got. But yeah, I thought I was really cooking with that one, even though it was extremely derivative of an existing Pokemon. Did you have any?
I was just going to say, do you want to have an insight into how stupid I still am? When you said Galapagos there, I was like, I didn't hear the Galapagos pun immediately. And I was like, is this like a pun on like gulping water? Like it's like gulping a large dose of water. I was like trying to work it out in my head, and then thankfully you went like Galapagos.
I'm glad I explained it. I didn't think I'd have to.
I would have sat here for the rest of the podcast being like, what does she mean by that? And then it would come out and the Discord would be like, oh yeah, that's very obvious, and I just have to pretend to have got it at the time. But also you can sue them doubly because Terrapagos was made in Scarlet and Violet. So
and it was my idea to do a pun after the Galapagos Islands. So although they are associated with turtles, so their idea kind of made more sense.
But
that doesn't matter.
You've just destroyed your own case in court. Your lawyers tearing their hair out.
They're going to play this tape in court. And like also, I do think I was ahead of my time with the idea, the very original idea of taking existing Pokemon and slightly modifying them for regional variations. You know, that came directly from me.
I had these beautiful, like massive Pokemon books. I think there were annuals maybe. Was an annual like a thing in the US as well? It was like every year you get like this kind of large A3-ish style book, and it'd be like,
and it was like the manga?
No. It was more like, oh, here is a profile of all these different Pokemon, and like here's some of the merch we released this year. So
no, like licensed? Was it
licensed? Yeah. It was totally.
I don't think we had those.
It was the kind of thing that you would buy for like 10 quid for a Christmas present kind of thing, and it just like he likes Pokemon. Here's a Pokemon book.
Yeah, where it's like for us, a lot of them were unlicensed, but it would just be like an unlicensed fan magazine. And I think there was one. It might have literally been called Pokemon Collector or something, and they always had like cool fan art covers. I kind of wanted to like get some old ones on eBay just because the cover art was cute, but everyone's like marked them up because they're like, if it's Pokemon, it's worth a lot more. And it's like, no, it's not. I'm the only one that wants that, and I don't want to pay what you're asking for it. But such is life. There's
a lot, obviously because of the era, there's a lot of those magazines that have like Harry Potter parody Pokemon like art.
Yes.
And it's like,
I think Nickelodeon magazine did a gag like that too. That was, everyone had the same idea.
Yeah. Sorry, working backwards, what the hell was I talking about there? Oh yes, the annuals, they had beautiful like art of the whole region. So they would have like the whole Kanto region, and it would have a huge amount of water. So I would always draw Pokemon in that section, and I would have like the massive Lugia right at the bottom, obviously the king of the seas, and I would always get really sad when I was like starting to run out of like space, out of real estate, and then because this is the way my brain worked back then, I was like, this isn't realistic. There's too many Pokemon here. In my mind,
you throw it out.
Yeah, I was like, I've actually ruined this now. I've ruined the fantasy.
I don't really get why you drew it on an existing Pokemon art. Like, did you also draw them on normal paper?
Oh yeah. I was a lot of I did a lot of tracing of this annual to just kind of like, because I have always had extremely shaky hands, so drawing freehand is like drawing in the middle of an earthquake to me. So a lot of tracing to like just trying to get the skills. But I thought that this beautiful art, of which that I now have like posters of the regions in my house, too empty. You know what it needed? Scrawls of very poorly recreated
oh my
water
God.
Pokemon.
That's kind of a treasure though to have now.
Don't have
I feel like I wish I had drawn more, even though it's so sad. I wish I drew more as a kid, even though I wasn't good at it, because I feel like the drawings would be charming now to me as an adult. But yeah, I always knew I wasn't that good at it, and so I didn't do it.
It's such an amazing skill to me. Like when I met Okacheki, the artist that did that Latias poster at Worlds, and he drew a Latios within like 4 strokes, and you're like, that's a Latios. That is exactly a Latios. The ability to just do that, unbelievable to me. It's such a wonderful talent. I fear we're getting to the end of this marathon session, but finally, if there's one thing from the Pokemon archives that you could just have, but it can be something that's unrealistic, something they would never sell, something that you desperately want, for example, and it can't be Pokemon Live. For example,
darn.
I want the design Bible from Red and Green just to see what that game looked like throughout its life, because it was in development for like 7 years and it changed so much. A lot of that stuff has subsequently come out, especially across like the different generations of leaks, but there's never been a complete kind of file of it. And secondarily, I would like a modern interview, and I'd like it to be done by me, of Satoshi Tajiri, who has not given an interview since that horribly he's not given that an interview since that horribly racist Time Magazine interview that he gave like
what did they do?
In 2001. They portrayed it as like he's creating these monsters for children to become addicted to, and they were like, there
was a lot of that.
He works for 24 hours and then sleeps. He has tiny beady eyes. It was like vaguely,
That's so mean.
It was really weird, really like pretty racist, like totally, and that was it. Like he's not spoke to the press.
I don't blame him. Yeah. I would just be like, no, I'm good. Yeah. No more magazine interviews.
It's so sad. He's so his favorite Pokemon is Poliwhirl, and that's the reason Poliwhirl was in all of the promotion back then, front and center on Time Magazine. They should bring
back more Poliwhirl stuff. Yeah. Put him on, especially with the anniversary coming. I feel like he's a nostalgic Pokemon.
Definitely.
Inherently.
Yeah. What's your unattainable grail? Break into the
See,
the
you
vault.
picked ones that your choices feel like noble because it's like cool stuff. Like the idea of an interview is like that's something for the community. Like you even said it can't be Pokemon Live, which I took to mean it can't be like the pro shot recording of it, which again feels like something you get to share with the community. But I was just thinking if I asked for Pokemon Live, it would just be like the puppets, just maybe with some of the costumes. But you said I can't pick that. Part of me wants to say like an animatronic from the Australian theme park attraction. But I honestly like, maybe this is like too attainable because I feel like at some point in my life I could just find one of these on eBay for like a decent price. But I think it'd be so cool to have one of the Pokemon Snap kiosks from Blockbuster.
Oh, yeah.
And like one in working condition and with some rolls of the paper to print out the stickers. I just think that'd be such a cool thing to have. And also like, I don't know where I'd put it, but it's not as much I don't know where I'd put it as like one of the cars, you know? It's like there would be a place to put it. So yeah, maybe something like that. Even though it feels like aiming low. Because like I said, I feel like, you know, when one comes along for sale, it's probably not that prohibitively expensive, but yeah.
I think the Pika Bugs are slightly overrated. I
agree.
Always prefer the Lugia PT Cruiser. I think that is a car.
That one's great, but also I just don't really understand collecting cars because they're so big and they need constant care. You can't just, even once it's in your possession, you can't put it somewhere and be like, it's good, because they'll like continue to degrade. And I feel like the idea of collecting something like that would like really stress me out. I say with all my vinyl My Little Ponies that will probably melt into puddles in the next like 30 years. But at least they're degrading very slowly and you can like mitigate it. You don't have to like be giving them tune-ups and draining oil out of them or whatever car people do with their cars.
I've just had a thought. At Pokemon, they would never do this because it would be, you would have to make so much product and it would be a really big undertaking. But imagine they did like a 90s toy store with reproductions of like the original lines and stuff like that. Like this is the problem. And I have always advocated for the fact that for the 30th anniversary, they should re-release base set exactly as it was, but just put a stamp on it so that so
people can't sell it.
Yeah.
I think that would be a great idea. Of course, we would never even get a booster pack because all the resellers would buy them immediately. I can't even think of the last time I saw a booster pack of Pokemon in a normal store. I got to go to the specialty card store and pay extra.
We would have to break in some kind of like Team Rocketonian way to like before the show opened to just walk through it and have it be nice.
We'd have the
clear.
big vacuum thing that's just sucking in all the merch, and like one of those net guns that launches a net at the shelf of plushies.
I think that, you know, like in the old Times Square Toys R Us, they would have like an X-Wing like hanging from the ceiling, like pointing towards the Star Wars section. Do that with the Lugia PT Cruiser. Sure, if it falls, it will kill like 15 people, but it would look spectacular.
Here's the thing, though. I feel like you own that car. You should just hollow it out.
Yeah.
You should just be like, I like the outside of it, and I'm just going to gut the inside. I'm never going to drive it. Where would I drive it? You know, just hollow it out, and then you can hang it on the ceiling. It's just like tin at that point. It's like a big tin can. And I think that would be really fun.
Yeah. I would like them to do a life-size Lugia plush for $7,000, and it will be...
That would be sick. And I feel like someone would buy it.
Yeah. Although,
like there would be a market for it.
One of the things I loved about Lugia from the film specifically was that it was canonically so massive that it was like it was so much bigger than any kind of Pokemon before, and the fact that it made the legendary birds just seem like Pidgeys essentially in terms of power. I was like, this is proper scary. I never felt that way about Mewtwo. Mewtwo just seemed like a weird guy. Intimidating, like powerful. It felt like a legendary Pokemon, whereas Mewtwo just felt like a random guy, and I've never been a huge Mewtwo mark.
Maybe I'm biased. I didn't care for the Lugia movie as a child or on recent rewatch as an adult. I didn't care for it. But whereas I love the first movie, I think that one's so good.
To close with a final sad story.
Oh no.
When I went to see the first Pokemon movie and Ash turned to stone, I was inconsolably crying to the point where...
Because you were Ash.
Exactly. I was watching my death on screen.
This is like an ego death moment, yeah. You were shaken to your core.
I was frozen in the cinema.
Pale white, like you've seen a ghost.
The people around me started turning around and asking my mum if I was all right, because I was like... so inconsolable about it, and I was scared to watch the film for years afterwards, and would skip, like when I would get to a certain part and I'd be like, okay, that's the end of it, and skip forward. It was like when you spoke about how the Pikachu's goodbye song, you used to be like afraid of that and skip that when the soundtrack came on. My friends and I,
if that episode came on TV, we'd scream and be like, turn it off.
Yeah,
it's the one where Pikachu says goodbye.
Yeah,
it's too sad.
That was like me with the movie, except I was screaming at the top of my lungs because I was so sad to watch myself die at like 7 years old.
I was just enjoying the movie. I remember my parents were upset to watch it because they started with that short, the vacation short. Yeah. Did you get that in your nation also?
We did. I think they maybe... No. They were in the cinema. I remember seeing it more frequently, like on the VHS and stuff like that, obviously, but they were definitely in the cinema.
They would bundle it with it.
Yeah.
But my parents had never watched like the anime with me. And so you'll recall that the format of Pikachu's Vacation is it's only Pokemon. And so it's narrated by the robotic voice of the Pokédex.
Yes.
And so the Pikachus will be like, Pika, 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 Pika. And then the robot voice will go, Pikachu is worried. And so my parents watching this were afraid that the whole movie was going to be like that. It was just going to be like little cartoon voices and like a robot narrator woodenly telling you what they had just said. But fortunately, it wasn't like that. And it was a great short. It had amazing songs. So it all worked out.
Yeah, I think my favorite of the films, and it's not the best one, is the third one, because I love Entei. And I thought,
oh, the Entei one.
Yeah, that was the last one they released in cinemas in the UK, because I remember distinctly going to see it with my friends, and we were the only people in there. So we started playing Pokemon in the aisles.
That's sick. That's actually sick, though. That's fun.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Which Pokemon has the best voice in the anime?
Ooh, Staryu.
That's an admirable choice.
Goes, yeah.
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 I was always a fan of Jabak! That was always
that one's great.
That was
Goldeen is also good because it's like sexy. She's like Goldeen, 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 Goldeen.
That made me
it's beautiful.
Even at the time, I always read that as creepy rather than like the clearly heavily erotic tones that the Pokemon company were going for at the time. It's the same way that someone's pointed out, like, the song "What Kind of Pokemon Are You?" is very, like, when you listen to it through a certain lens, it's like,
wait, no, it's not.
It sure is. What kind of Pokemon are you? How can you do... Claude Sire's gone. How can you do the things you do? It's very like...
It's not. They're singing about the types.
Listen to the song again. Listen to
it
with modern ears.
I will, but I've heard it with modern ears. I feel like you're projecting your own sick mind onto this wholesome Pokemon song.
No, I'm saying I don't like any of that. That's why I hate when they ever did Misty Cross Ash stuff. I was like, none of that is in Pokemon. None of this, like, ghettos equal gross.
I think that's why I didn't like the Lugia movie, is that was like a heavy presence in that film, was like girls being jealous of each other because Ash is so hot.
Yeah.
And they all love Ash. And I'm like, in what world? In what? You probably thinking you're Ash, you probably loved the Lugia movie. You're like, oh, that's right. Everyone wants Ash.
Like, yeah, ghettos do
just
be
another
like that.
day for Ash to catch him.
I liked I always wanted them, whenever they met someone new in the anime, the main three, I was like, get rid of these people. Keep going on the adventure. Don't spend like 2 weeks talking to this random person in this random town. The announcer voice is going to come over at the end of this episode and go, our heroes are now 3 weeks away from Pewter City. And it's like, oh, come on. We're so nearly there.
But then they can play the beautiful song, the do 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 do. Yeah. And they're waving goodbye and they're walking backwards down the road. It's the journey, not the destination.
Yeah. And they're all Ash's stupid voice screaming like, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
I like that. I would always love when he'd go, la, 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 whenever he'd get like electrocuted.
Oh, man. Pokemon, it's pretty good. Still pretty good.
It is.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for doing this, Jenny. I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah.
You're the busiest.
We talk about everything.
Yeah. Everything and nothing. It's actually one of the most accurate recreations of a Discord conversation I've ever had in my life.
It kind of is.
Because this is just what we do. We don't talk about anything else.
This is just the greatest hits, really. Yeah.
What are you working on at the moment? Can you share?
I'm so close to releasing. I'm still keeping the movie's identity a secret, but it's a video about a favorite bad movie of mine. And at the time we're recording it, it's probably going to be out in like 2 weeks. So
the Digimon movie.
I mean, unless it has the Digimon movie. Exactly.
So
I'm excited about that.
You're only doing it about the Angela Anaconda short that was attached to the front of the Digimon movie for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, which everyone remembers so vividly.
Where can people support you?
They can go to my YouTube channel, which is named Jenny Nicholson. They can go to my Patreon if they'd like an exclusive monthly video there. And what the heck, they should follow me on TikTok. That's kind of a newer one for me, but sometimes I post on there and we have a great time over there. So follow me on TikTok also.
Patreon.com/ is it just Jenny Nicholson?
Probably Jenny Nicholson, probably. Yeah.
Folks.
And then that was taken on TikTok, so it's just Jenny username on there. Because I was like, what can my username be if my name's taken?
Yeah.
But that's it. Jenny username.
You didn't decide Spider Jewel RIP fully gone now that Instagram tried to dox you, that you're not into that anymore?
Yeah. It's a shame. But no, maybe I'll return to Spider Jewel at some point. Bring it back for the 30th anniversary.
Genuine last question.
Which is probably coming up.
Best spider Pokemon?
Oh, Spinarak. Although Galvantula, no, but Spinarak has such beautiful colors. And such like a pleasing chunkiness. The proportion of legs is really nice. So yeah, I think Spinarak.
Yeah, I'm an Ariados man, so I get that.
Ariados is like elegant, but I like a chunky spider.
Yeah. Well, we hope you enjoyed this. Very loosely, well, it wasn't loosely themed, it was all Pokemon, but Pokemon, like the franchise, is multifaceted. It includes many different things, examinations of my childhood personality disorders and how that...
yes, I learned a lot of unflattering things about you.
Good, yeah. I did think that our friendship was slightly too strong, so I'm glad that this can be, this can bring it back down to earth.
I learned that you sexualize the soundtrack, that you demand to be the main character of every game.
You brought that element into it when you started talking about Goldeen, who always read to me as creepy, and you're like,
I said her voice was sexy
ass fish.
I didn't say it was sexual. It's sexy. That's a neutral observation, and it's true. It's objective.
Sound off in the comments below.
Yes.
Team Jordan / Team Jenny merch available at videogameschronicle.com. And if you'd like to support VGC, patreon.com / Video Games Chronicle. Go and check out Jenny's stuff if you've not already. And if you haven't already, you should be deeply, deeply embarrassed. If you're a fan of Pokemon stuff, especially. Wonderful deep dive of Pokemon Live on the Patreon that you can go and see.
Yes.
Very, very good stuff. Until next time, say goodbye, Jenny.
Bye. Goodbye.
And we'll see you later. VGC is supported by Patreon. Check out patreon.com/videogameschronicle for more podcasts, ad-free browsing, and extra content. Thank you for your support.